Hey, everybody. I get this question quite often. Should I leave my IRA to a trust? So I wanted to go through the pros and cons, the reasons to, the reasons not to, and try to make this as clear as possible, even though the world around us makes it as clear as mud. So let's jump in. Let's start with why would we leave our IRA through the beneficiary listed on the IRA to a trust? Well, the big reason is what I would call managing your money beyond the grave, right? Controlling things after you have passed away. And so that's one of the reasons, but there's many variations of that, right? So you're concerned about the fiscal responsibility of heirs. Maybe they have a bunch of debt. Maybe they're teetering on bankruptcy, whatever the case may be. You're worried about their responsibility with the money. That is one of the common reasons that people want to leave their IRA in a trust after they're gone. Next one, get this one occasionally here too as well. I don't like my child's spouse, or I'm worried they're not going to last and I don't want that spouse to get the money. Unfortunately, it's real in this day and age, and the divorce rate is significant, and sometimes we are worried about those relationships. So protecting the money in a trust as opposed to giving it to your heirs is one of the reasons. Special needs beneficiary. This is one of the most legitimate reasons that you put money from an IRA into a trust. But it also comes with a very special trust called a special needs trust that is specifically designed to handle that situation. So this is one of the most legitimate reasons. Spousal access. So especially where I am in Arizona, we have a lot of late life marriages with separate families. And we want to try to take care of the surviving spouse instead of just sending off all your money to your kids and leaving the surviving spouse with nothing. So we see things like spousal access trusts, or known as AB trusts, things like that. So putting the money into the trust, the first to die's money into the trust, allowing the surviving spouse to access it, and then once both are gone, they go their separate ways to their separate beneficiary lists. And then there's charitable reasons as well. Maybe you want to leave your money to a foundation that is going to spread out the charitable giving over time. There's lots of things that can be done from a charitable aspect as well, but those charity designations in a standard trust are going to blow up the IRA and cause it very high taxation for no reason. So we do have to be careful about that stuff and do it properly. So those are the primary reasons I see out there to leave your IRA to a trust as opposed to human beings. There's huge caveats on this. This is the scary part of this, and this is why 99% of the time I'm telling people don't have the trust as the beneficiary of your IRA. So let's start with several basic reasons here. The lawyer. Look, there's plenty of lawyers that are fully competent out there, but there are so many, especially here in Arizona, that have no idea what they're doing. I even caught somebody printing off online documents that you can buy for a couple $100 and selling it for thousands. So here's the thing, lawyers, even good lawyers, sometimes make mistakes. Publicly, we saw James Gandolfini's case over in New York, famous actor. When he passed away, from what I understand, had to pay a lot of undue taxation because there were errors in the way the trusts were set up. So I personally have seen a lot of trusts that are just basic trusts, not able to handle IRA money. And if unnoticed, would have caused significant undue taxation as well. So having the trust written up properly for the purpose of receiving IRA money becomes very important. What about yourself making an error? I've seen plenty of people that got a trust 5 years ago and maybe wanted to change their beneficiary or wanted to leave some money to their church. And so they add that in. Well, you add a charity into that trust and it will not receive IRA money without immediate taxation. So you not knowing all the rules, the nitty-gritty details may cause this IRA to be taxed, and you won't know it because you'll be gone. And that's something that we see quite often as well. But here's the scary thing, and this is the trend that we're seeing. The custodians, the holders of these IRAs, the Fidelities, the Charles Schwabs, the Wells Fargos, all these big entities that are out there, they don't like arguing with the IRS. They would rather fight with your heirs who don't usually know what they're doing than fight with the IRS. And the IRS says if the beneficiary that's receiving the IRA is not a human being, then you're to withhold 40% taxation. And so we've seen this happening more and more. The custodians don't want to argue. If it's anything other than human beings on the beneficiary page, they have the right to withhold 40%, send it to the IRS and let your heirs figure the mess out. Okay. So that's a problem. And I can't blame the custodians. Nobody likes fighting with the IRS, which is part of the next problem. First off, with the IRS, if you make a mistake in this transition of money in your name, IRA money in your name to the IRA or to the trust, not only in that transition are there a bunch of potholes that you have to watch out for, pitfalls that cause problems, but oh my Lord, have you seen the tax brackets for trusts? They're terrible. So if it's not managed properly on top of this, the tax brackets within a trust are horrifically worse than a human being's tax brackets. So if you guys mess up, if any part of this, the transition or the management of it messes up in any way, shape, or form, holy cow, try to argue with the IRS. You'll realize why these custodians are done with it and they don't care anymore. They'd rather argue with your heirs. Arguing with the IRS, trying to get tax money back from them that you didn't need to pay is not easy. So we've got that problem. IRS taxation and arguing with them is very hard to do. Then there's the lawmakers. This is the clear as mud part of this, right? So Secure Act 2 is a great example of lawmakers creating laws and just letting the chips fall where they may. And we have a huge problem with this right now because people that inherited IRA money post 2020, honestly, nobody really knows what to do with it because we're waiting on an opinion letter, clarifications from the IRS on how to handle the 10-year rule and whether there's required distributions. From what we understand right now, most beneficiaries have a 10-year rule to get all the money out, but they still have that inherited IRA required minimum distribution within those 10 years, which is very confusing to most of the industry, and that's why most custodians have no idea what to do, and you get a different answer every single where you call. And the IRS is working on clarifying the exceptions to the 10-year rule, and the letter's not due out till 2024, so they've made the exception for all the mistakes that have happened from 2020 to now, and I find that quite interesting as well. They have completely overcomplicated all of this. Something as simple as inheriting an IRA is very difficult right now. So the lawmakers can change the rules. You can have the beneficiary of your IRA be a trust, but then the lawmakers change the rule. And some of the reasons, if you're subject to that 10-year rule, some of the reasons to manage it beyond the grave and pay this kind of crazy taxation on it, there's no reason to leave it to the trust. There's very few reasons left over. we got to be careful about leaving IRA money to a trust. There has to be a legitimate plan, and the plan is never done, because then we got to watch the rules as they change and accommodate those rules. And that probably will require the changing of the wording of the trust to be able to handle this IRA money. So if you're not in a very complex situation, bypass all these issues and just leave your IRA money to heirs. And this applies to your Roth money as well. It's not as painful in Roth if we make a mistake because there's no taxation, but who wants to lose that tax-free status for no reason, for a simple mistake? So the rule of thumb is, unless you have a very complicated situation, your IRA money and Roth money should go directly to human beings based on your beneficiary forms at the account level. They should bypass your trust. Even if you have a trust, just send the IRA and Roth money to human beings. That makes it fairly close to bulletproof. Okay, that's the cleanest, easiest way to handle this, and what I typically will recommend in most situations. So this is just looking at the easiest ways. Unfortunately, I have clients pass away every year, and we watch money move and help facilitate money move, and that is by far the simplest way to handle this, is having human beings as opposed to a trust. Okay. All right. I hope that helps. That was really designed as a PSA, a public service announcement. We have to be careful about leaving money from IRA money to a trust. Give us a call, shoot us an email if we can help out in any way. I am a real person. I am always happy to help. We're about to launch a website for you to be able to schedule hourly appointments with me, things like that. There's been a lot of requests, and I've been helping out hourly because I'm a big fan of people that want to do it themselves, but also need help with technical stuff like this. So I'm available anytime. Give us a call, shoot us an email, comment below, and subscribe if you haven't. All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks again.